Amelia married at age 19 to Bob, her peer. She was his first and only woman. The tall, dark-eyed, dark-haired love of his life. By 36, they had 2 children, financial stability, an apartment, a couple of cars, and Bob had gotten fat. A kind of fat man. What can I say? Lovemaking had left the marital bed, giving way to routine and affection. But Amelia still burned with desire, more and more often, and hot nights dreaming of a lover. At all the celebrations, they were always together, exuding mutual love, carefully, hiding the trouble from people, posing as a couple in love. From all this, Amelia had nervous breakdowns. She became cruel, overbearing, and willful to Bob. Finally, she decided that first of all, it is necessary to get in shape. Fitness and plastic surgery made her figure slim, breasts beautiful and butt tight. But the lover didn't show up. She began to spend even more time at work, trying to be less at home with a disgusted husband and always screaming children. Amelia's school friend Maria, a masculine woman, a cab driver, watched her with interest and drew conclusions. Giving advice, discreetly guided Amelia towards same-sex love. From all this, Amelia put on a cross and began to pray, visiting God's temple in the hope of keeping her soul in the heat of bodily suffering. She was valued at work, spending at the computer. All day long, she solved any issues with suppliers and customers, working for two, becoming an indispensable assistant to the boss. Of all the employees, she most sympathized with Jack, a hardened bachelor of 50 years. He, watching her metamorphosis, having considerable experience with women, understood the reason for her sadness and sympathized with her. In addition, because of the large age difference, he treated her a little paternal, and Amelia liked that. Late evening, lit the street lights in the deserted parking lot. Only 2 cars, Jack's Ford and Amelia's Mitsubishi, stood waiting for their owners. They were late for duty today. Jack thought about Amelia, looking at her unceremoniously, not responding to her indignant and questioning looks. Finally, he read in her eyes, "Well, if you want me, take me." The warm summer night, with the rustling of thick foliage engulfing the darkness of the trees, was conducive to conversation. Jack and Amelia stood at the open window. He was contemplating the curl of hair at the little ear. "You're so beautiful." Unable to restrain himself, he put his arms around her waist and kissed her plump, sweet lips. She, covering her eyes, accepting the inevitable and haunting tightly around the neck, and pressed herself against him, answering kiss on kiss. He carried her into the room, laid her back on the table, and pulled down his pants, hesitating for a second. Her pants and panties flew out of his hands and into the corner. Covering her eyes, she gripped the edge of the table with her lacquered fingernails. Her hair, breaking free, scattered across the table. Seconds later, they made love. Amelia rolled her eyes and fluttered on the table like a caught fish. Afterward, they went home. Jack came home and invited a friend to visit. Jack was having a drink with his friend in his kitchen. In front of them was a full bottle of cognac and some appetizers. "You understand, Michael, I didn't mean for this to happen, but it did. I'm a dog, aren't I? A dog. Every day she's back and forth, in front of me, back and forth. How could I restrain myself?" Michael, holding out his glass, smiled. "She's married and still at work and still in the same room. Why would I do that? Is she pretty? Beautiful, Michael, and breast and butt and legs and hair and quite a face too." He, emptying the glass, savored the lemon. "If she wasn't pretty, I wouldn't want her. You know me." Michael smiled back. I know you. I know you. Oh, and she's also completely untrained. She's never had anyone but her husband, and he's never had anyone but her. She had a real high with me. Her husband has grown cold to her. Why would I have an affair like that? I am. Dorothy and Claire visits. God forbid she should fall in love with me." Michael looked interested, with alcohol-drenched eyes. "Can I see her? Here's a picture." Jack watched Michael contentedly, who was looking at the photo with interest. The Saturday summer morning was bracing with a cool breeze. Amelia was on her way out of town. Her husband and children had gone to her beloved mother for the weekend. She was free. Jack had invited her to his friend's dacha, thinking about the upcoming meeting. She winced, remembering the recent evening. An hour later, the car was cooling down on the lawn outside the two-story country house. To her surprise, in addition to the long awaited Jack, she was greeted by the owner of the house, Michael, a tall, athletic blond man with blue expressive eyes, about 40 years old. After going into the house and having a light snack, Michael and Jack hurried to swim and sunbathe in the pool. Amelia, having changed into a bathing suit and a short robe, hurried along with them. Jack discreetly nodded approvingly at Michael's swaying, round, muscular ass, Amelia's firm breasts jiggling as she hurried toward the water. After swimming and sunbathing, they drank martinis, admiring the summer day. Jack turned away from Michael, who was stuttering off into the distance, and kissed her softly, whispering something in her ear, and carried her into the bedroom, leaving wet footprints on the sun-warmed stones. Amelia stood on tiptoe at the big bed and fell faithfully to his lips. Pulling the rope, he released her from her top. Breaking away from the hot embrace, Amelia slid into the bed. Jack tossed a firm pillow onto the bed in the likeness of a sloping prism, and taking Amelia by her slender ankles, he laid on top of her, and they made love. I've never felt so good. She kissed him gratefully. You were my first man since my husband. Amelia, you're beautiful. You'll have fun with me, I promise. But you promise to obey me. Yes, she pulled her face closer with a smile. Obey like a little girl obeys her daddy. Obey like the first man. First and favorite. I promise. Amelia left for the bathroom and soon returned to the bedroom, clutching a towel too. Her chest, she looked fearfully at the two men propped up on their elbows and smiling at her. Amelia, don't be afraid. We're not going to do anything wrong. She looked at Jack in silence. You promised to obey, didn't you? It's going to be okay, I promise. Drop the towel. The towel dropped her feet. Michael appreciated both the flushed face framed in dark hair and the round shoulders, the flat tummy. Amelia, turn around. Round butt. Shapely legs, long dark hair, long beautiful arms. Come to us, Amelia. Jack beckoned her over. After drinking the wine, getting plenty of kisses and laughs, Amelia, like a woman, became interested in mastering the two men. Jack and Michael, looking at each other with satisfaction, decided to possess her, setting them into a rhythm, Amelia moving as if on a spit. Being controlled by the two, almost simultaneously they finished. Amelia drove home through the evening to a light that quickly filled the highway. She was relaxed and content. There was peace in her soul. She was as firm in her desire to keep her family together as she was in her desire to be owned by many men. It was her choice, her destiny. Dear friends, thank you very much for watching. Leave comments, put likes, share it with friends, and subscribe to the channel.